And less than 10 years, raise your hands, please.
5년이요. 여기서 5년입니다.
Less than 5 years, raise your hands, please.
넌 어디 있나?
Where are you? Where do you belong?
Oregon State.
Oregon? Are you a state leader?
Yeah.
Oregon State.
이스트 가든 오니까 하더래.
So, especially those for the first time, how do you feel being in the East Garden?
그리고 이번에도 저희 부모나 선생님 만나니까 기분이 어떠래?
And how did you feel when Father did not come to speak on Parents' Day to World Mission Center?
괜찮지?
Was all right, wasn't it?
왜 그래?
Why? Why did you have that hollow feeling?
We're sorry that Father doesn't have the freedom to go out.
너희들은 잘 모른다고 시대가 어떻게 변천해 간다는 거.
Of course, all of us do not know precisely how the subtle movements of the time is and what today is.
자, 오늘 그리고 이 세계 사람들 역사가 어떻게 움직여 나가는지 모른다고.
And even those who are concerned, the people of the world, do not know how the history is moving ahead.
그렇게 볼 때 하나님의 섭리가 어떻게 역사와 이 세계와의 관계를 맺고 나간다는 건 더더욱이나 모르다는 것이.
Naturally, they cannot even dream to know how God's dispensation goes along with this movement of the human history.
자, 이런 세상, 그런 이 현 세계에서 역사의 변천이라든가 혹은 때의 변천이라든가 혹은 섭리의 변천을 아마 아는 사람이 영웅밖에 없지 않느냐.
And if there is such a thing as the movement of history, movement of dispensation, and the tie between them, if there's anyone at all who would have a knowledge about that, certainly we can say Father would be the only possible person in the history and in today to know what it
그럼
is.
때라는 것은 때가 있는 때를 보게 된다면 이제 인간들이 바라는 때, 하나님이 바라는 때 이것이 잘 맞지 않는다. 전에 이 성충제 나왔다.
And when we talk about time and opportunity, then what people, what mankind wants to have that as an opportunity, and what God regards, what dispensation regards, and this is an opportune time to do the great historical thing, everyone has different idea, and we can never come to a consensus.
Everyone, every time.
Every time, every person think it different way.
자,
There's no unity.
그러니까 지상 세계에 인간들이 이상하는 일도 하나님의 때와 하나 되어야 되고 또 하나님이 인간 세계에 섭리의 뜻을 완성시키는 것도 이 지상 때와 하나 될 수 있는 때를 말하지 않고는 성사 완성이라는 것이 있을 수 없다.
Mankind wants something. It has a age-old historical goal, wish. And to fulfill this wish, it has to time precisely according to the movement of history at that particular time of the history. God has a dispensation. God wishes dispensation to fulfill in such a way. In other words, God wishes the world to be such and such. Even that dispensation must have a right time to work on. So both human desire and God's desire, dispensation in other words, must go along with this, with the human flow of the human history.
We must focus time.
Must focus on this particular time and both reach to the goal.
After that point, many things accomplished.
And after grasping that right moment and do right thing, the goal of both sides will have been accomplished. Do you follow, Father?
그렇게 볼 때 그것이 그때라는 것이 이것이 무슨 뭐 과학을 하는 사람이라든가 혹은 무슨 철학을 하는 사람이라든가 종교학이라든가 혹은 무슨 이 역사를 여러 분야의 때가 돼 전체적 분야 이 세계는 세계 전체적 분야의 때와 역사적 때와 선리의 전체적 분야의 선리사의 때가 어떻게 일치되리 하는 것이 이것은 하나님이 최고로 바라는 때요 인간 역사가 바라는 최고의 때일 것이다 하는 것을 우리는 전해드립니다.
So we can see rather easily that we have many the field of study. Each one may have his own the interpretations, but how this holistically the whole the desire of the earth will fulfill, focusing on a certain time, and how the God's will best be fulfilled through this focal time. There is one opportune time, the best time, the critical time through which all can be accomplished. If God would be promoting His dispensation, certainly He will look for this critical time. And when we wish that someone will come and indicate this opportune time so that the whole thing, politically, the philosophically, in whichever subdivision you may use the concept of, there is this holistic, the desire to achieve as a human being in general. So the focal time is so important.
또 포컬 타임은 거기에 영할 때 그 특정한 민족적인 미국이라고 해서 민족을 지던 미국을 위주한 것이 아니라 세계적 전체를 중심으로.
And that focal time surpasses all the different difference of the different regions or cultures, race. In other words, for the earth in general.
자, 그러면 이렇게 볼 때, 그럼 지상세계의 역사를 대표하는 인간들의 역사 시대가 주체가 되거느냐, 섬세가 주체가 되는 문제. 그때가 포컬 타임 말이지.
Coming down to narrow this much, you can see, then what is that focal time? Is it centering on the human kind of a program or desire, perspective of history? Or is it dispensation, or is that of God, which should be like a center of the both to fulfill, to accomplish? In other words, which is a subject, more or less, and which is more or less the object?
물론 하나님이 바라는 그때와 지성과 맞아야 된다.
And of course, the time God is wishing, the God is taking as most important, and what the creatures on earth is coveting, these will come to meet.
그러면
Will have to come. To meet.
그런 세계, 그 타락한 세계를 그런 세계로 수습하기 위해서는 여러 문화권의 다른 한글적 삼고 혹은 민족적 개별적 민족대 혹은 뭐 클럽적 민족대 경제분야 경제 분야 여러 가지 분야에 특정한 사람을 내서 세워서 귀합하는 역사적 과정이 있을 것이라는 건 이론적이라고.
And it is reasonable to assume that in order to bring about this great big results, goal, ideal and wish, all the representatives of all different different parts of the world, different walks of the study, different field of the study, different representative of different races, somehow they will be chosen, they will be collected, and they will be and they will grow kind of each the representatives of these different the regions and the parts will identify itself and grow it, and God will make them collect them together to a certain direction. All of these things we can expect to happen.
세계적인 학자라든가 유명한 과학자라든가 그런 사람들도 그런 분야에 수습하는 하나를 주체로 한 이런 표준 밑에서 수습해 나오고 있다는 사실, 또 그다음에 종교 지도를 통해서 정신 분야를 수습해 나오고 있다는 사실. 이건 인간은 모른다. 저는 모른다.
And this great flow, consistent flow of things, development of things, man usually do not know. The area of philosophy, for instance, area of politics, for instance, what the mankind has been achieving and has achieved in the past this particular personal representative in that field is composing that and bringing them into the goal. But as he is doing that, this is true in everywhere. As like religious, the field plays most important the part of the play here, because they are the one who is responsible for the spiritual side, which is the most important of all different activities of mankind. He does that. Now, as this the unified effort, kind of unified effort is getting in to match to a certain time, mankind who is actually doing that do not know. It's somewhere up there, somewhere heaven, who is the mastermind of this flow of the history, is the only one who is recognizing these things.
세계적 확대를 한다. 그렇기 때문에 세계적 학자라든가 세계적 전문가들은 유능한 사람들은 자기도 모르지만 영적인 세계의 그런 사명적 분야에 대해서 그런 하고 있다는 건 모르는 거야.
And the characteristic of it that this is not done by locally. Everything is coming in a global meaning, global way. So the world-renowned scholar, the world-renowned top person in a certain area, they, through the inspiration, feel that they are going a certain direction and they are coming to a culminating point. Even though they cannot express this precisely, but vaguely, but then concretely enough, they realize that we are on the verge of that movement in the history. They know that.
그러면 세계적 시대로 정치 경제 문화가 세계적 시대로 시대로 확대가 다 이거.
So we see the things of political nature, the economic things, the cultural, they all come up to a global level. It used to be in the local level, it used to be the country level at best, but now it all goes beyond that and come to a global level.
그러면서 종교도 세계적 종교로, 예?
And this, religion, of course, is not the exception. The religion played a vast role in the local or the limited sense, but now it has the unswerving movement towards a global movement of religion.
이렇게 볼 때, 그럼 이 세계사에 이런 한때의 초점을 바라보고 나오는 하나님의 섭리 밑에 상대적 기반적인 이 세계인데 세계 역사는 반드시 종교와 이 모든 정치, 경제, 문화가 합한 세계권을 향해서 움직인다. 이렇게 봐야 된다.
And that is the unmistakable, the plan and movements of the whole, the God the planned and intended movements. But this will have to find a joining point of the unity with these religious the movements also, the religious the moving of the religious tides, and focusing on this what Earth has been preparing, and it all will have to come and play an integrated role, the integral role. In other words, each one is not separated. It will just come to play the integrated the results. Do you follow what Father is
그렇기 때문에
trying to convey us?
결국은 이건 뭐냐면 이렇게 발전하는데 그런 지도적 역할, 뭐 경제계나 모든 분야의 지도 역할, 혹은 특히나 종교 분야의 지도 역할하는 사람들은 하나의 특정한 사명을 짊어지고 지어가지고 그 시대를 더 발전시켜 큰 무대, 세계적 분야로 전진하기 위한 바는 선지자들과 같은 자들을 통해서 한 일과 마찬가지다.
Especially
그 현장에 선지하는 거지. 그 경제는 경제, 철학은 철학 다.
Especially the world of religion, God select a certain personal group, like a prophet. We can say that he is very much of a prophet or prophets or group of prophets, and make him act or make him play a part of grossly enhancing the integrated effort.
그렇기
Through
때문에
him, much of the level is pushed up.
정치계나
God will expect him to be
학세계나 문화
like that.
세계에서 유명한 사람들인 것이 자기가 유명해진 것이 아니고 하나님이 보여서 지혜를 줘가지고 그 세계의 선지자들로서 보낸 사람들이다 그 말이라고.
So what Father actually is pointing out here is that the man of great literature, man of the great principle in a certain philosophical world maybe, a world-renowned, global level, the scholars, these people are not individual themselves. He may not acutely realize, but actually what's doing is the heaven is behind him, and select him and give him the inspiration, make all that the work which is necessary to the integrating the history, work for him, not against him, work for him. So with all this visible and invisible support, he is manifesting himself a certain key to present the key role to do the integration of the world, and behind it's heaven.
그러니까 그 세계의 그 분야의 선지자들이다 그런 거지.
So in each area we can see such a person in each the field of study. So he is a prophet in that way.
프라피는 뭐야 필두라.
He's the pilgrim in that way. He is a forerunner in that way. Banner bearer.
자기도 모르게 지혜를 받아서 이렇게 받아요.
It's not altogether his own humanistic effort. In spite of himself, he received revelation. Often he wonders why it comes and where it comes, but it does come.
자, 이렇게
And then he
때,
advances much.
이렇게 뭐 아까 말한 때, 세계적 한때, 그 한때가 온다. 그 한때를 말하든 정도를 말하든 끝날이라 한다. 끝날. 한때.
So
그 때를 수습하고 때를 이거 종합을 기결 줄일 수 있는 것이 뭐냐면 반드시 하나의 한 때가 있는데 그 때가 뭐냐면 끝날이라고 말하고 있죠. 끝날.
So that one focal point is coming. There's no question, and it is there. It is there, and this one point, is synonymous as the end of the world. Religion has expressed this end of the world, end days of the world, last days of the world.
last of the 그때 뭐 그 last가 뭐냐? 그것이 메시아가 오는 때다 그 말 메시아가. 그래서
And that last days are also synonymous. It is the days when Messiah comes.
그래서
It all is the same.
그 메시아를 왜 안 오냐? 지상의 때를 중심 삼은 하나의 통일적인 형태를 갖춘 기반 후에 하나님의 섭리의 주체적 섭리의 때와 일치화시키기 위해서 이거 묶는 데는 하나님 묶는 거예요. 메시아가 와서 통일을 하게 된다.
So when you're looking, then why does Messiah come? Messiah come to the what? Messiah come to come in that day, and on the foundation of this integrated focal time, which the history has been working for a long time, and so does God. So has God been working for a long time. On that foundation, he will play a major role, a subjective role, to realize the goal of the historical God's goal, and meet the historical human goal as well, and become an integrator, so to speak, is on that foundation of the preparation of time.
자,
This is a explanation of Messiah's coming in his work.
그러면 어떻게 되느냐? 그러면 어떻게 되냐? 지상에 있어서의 지상 세계를 파탄 세계, 지상이 보다 차원 높은 하나의 이상 세계로 넘어가야 된다.
So actually what does happen is, on the face of the earth, the whole thing will be pushed up and elevated to in its standard, in its dimension even. It will jump up to a certain dimension where it will make a vast advancement in one large leap into the more ideal and more fulfilled the goal of what mankind has been wanting.
자, 그러면 여기서 문제되는 것이 뭐냐면 하나의 전체적 섭리의 뜻, 섭리의 한때를 수습한 주체성을 지니는 메시아. 그 자체 앞에는 이 상대 세계, 메시아가 그런 주체성, 난 상대의 사상을 가져다가 딱 그거 있을 수 없다는 거야.
다시 한번.
메시아가 그런 주체적 영계 산원의 섭리사를 전체 대표할 수 통일적인 그런 컨셉을 갖고 온다면 그 컨셉이 주체인데 그 주체 컨셉을 중심 삼고 서 있는 상대적 이 세계 모든 문화나 모든 경제나 모든 철학이나 종교 전체가 우리들의 주장을 더 그 주체 앞에 상대로 설 수 있다 생각할 수 없다. 지금까지 지상에 가진 모든 것은 영이 되어야 된다.
So when Messiah comes to act that role and is fully prepared to play that role with a certain the ideal of subject, thoughts of being a subject, subjective thought, and then emerge, then at that time it does not justify that the certain other groups, like the religious group, for instance, or the philosophical group, or any other cultural or managerial, whatever the group will stand up as, yes, you certainly have that subjective, but I am more or less like a secondary. You're the primary, but I am more or less like a secondary. I can, I am entitled to a different opinion. Yours is very fine, but maybe mine is next fine. And then that kind of the parallel way. This parallel is never justified, like it has always been doing in all throughout the past history. Now, what justifies is when Messiah emerges through this historical time, and that alone is most important and valid, since it is directly from God. Everything else is meaningless. Everything else.
예, 왜 meaningless요? 왜 meaningless냐? 타락한 인간세계가 사탄의 공에 달렸거든요.
And the one reason why, and the good reason why it is meaningless and has to be meaningless, is that Satan is tagging right behind that assertion, if he does make an assertion.
사탄 세계에 간섭이 있는 한 내가 들어갈 틈이 있다고 하는 거잖아.
So long as there is the left out tie, the unsolved tie, the old corrupt tie with the Satan, so to speak, then there's always the room for Satan to work in, to creep in, and he claiming himself the center again. There's always the chance. What Messiah does and influence them will eventually be meaningless if they have that self-assertion, because Satan tag along and say, in other words, Satan comes into that into the fortress.
자, 이렇게 볼게. 무슨 말인지 알겠어? 응?
Do you understand?
민주주의든 공산주의든 어떤 주의든 그것은 상대적인 조건을 제시할 수 없다.
So when that time comes, such a political idea as democracy, or even communism, or what ism, or what basic thought, cannot claim them to be a parallel to what Messiah brings forth.
저 에덴 동산에서 타락하였을 때 거기에 주의가 무슨 주의? 아담과 주의가 있었겠나? 누구 천상주의가 있었겠나? 하나님주의밖에 없다는 거 알아야 돼. 하나밖에 없다.
Let's try very hard to forget everything and return to the time of Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve they lived in the Garden of Eden, what kind of ideal was there? Would there have been?
What kind of ism there?
Ism would have been there. Like would there have been democracy between the two, or among the community, or something of the nature of the communism, or the humanism?
없다기야.
Nothing. None of these we would find.
가지집을 절대로 한 하나의 통일주의밖에 없다 이거라 해야 돼. 가지집이 하나 된 통일주의.
And it's not difficult. In fact, it's very easy to assume, to imagine that there would have been rather simple and rather consistent and unique ism. This ism would have been one ism, or the Godism. And the unity, or if you elaborate that, maybe unificationism, would have been all it were. It would have been. Anything else you can conceive? Well, but I believe that such and such would have also existed. No, there's no such a thing.
하나님과 인간의 제일 희망의 때가 뭐냐면 하나님주의하고 통일주의를 이루었던 것이 인간의 희망때야. 그러면 그것을 잃어버렸으니 역사를 통해 찬독기라고 했으니 하나님주의의 절대 통일할 수 있는 한때가 인간이 바라는 섭리사와 인간 역사의 이상적 종합의 때라 하는 것은 확실한 결론이야. 예?
So we can rather easily and clearly see that at that time there was a Godism and a unity, unificationism. That was all there was. But then we lost that as a result of the fall. And our purpose is to restore that. To bring,
at that time is a focus time all of the universe.
At that time, there was a focal time of the whole universe too. But God desires.
Adam and Eve lost that place, that time. So that divide man and God. This is result of fall.
So at
Effective.
that focal time, the Adam and Eve lost that. And now it's a time is moving around and the same the type of the time, and our desire is to, the Adam and Eve's desire is to, or the mankind's desire is to restore that or to get it back, bring it back. That what is that? That is the Godism and the unificationism, the unity which they have lost.
자, 그 이것을 찾아 복귀해야 돼. Reserve way. We have to follow the reserve way. That is historical dispensation.
And what we lost, we have to recover that, and the history moves around in preparation, and then bring everything into in the right time and focal time at a certain time. And this is the result of the history. This is what we must do.
자, 그래 그때를 이것을 전결지내 그때를 여러분은 뭐냐면 그때를 이것을 완성하기 위해서 메시아인데 그 메시아가 누구냐 하면 아담과 타락하신 부모가 참부모가 될 것인데 참부모가 못됐기 때문에 메시아라는 분은 참부모의 이력을 가지고 이때를 하나님주의에 통일시키기 위하여서 온다 하는 것은 이것은 지극히 이런 얘기라고.
And it's very rational that that time Adam and Eve lost, Adam and Eve must recover. And since Adam and Eve has fallen, has never been a true parents at the time, now when Messiah comes and bring this back into and recover all this what we have lost, Godism and unity, unificationism, then he is the true parent. He comes as a function of true parents. Or the whole thing is consistent, is reasonable to explain that Adam and Eve, which it has lost,
무슨 말이냐면 그런 원칙에 있어서의 끝날의 한때는 참부모가 무슨 메시아가 올 텐데 메시아 와가지고 전부 다 하나를 만들 텐데 그러면 그것을 무슨 기반? 종교 기반, 주류 종교를 기반으로 해서 세계를 하나를 만들려고 했던 것이 이스라엘 역사에서 메시아를 보내려고 한 것이 그때고 우주 때. 로마 제국을 한도로 해가 세계 통일할 수 있는 세계를 하나로 이끌 수 있는 때였고 지금이 재림 시대가 미국을 우주 위주로 해가지고 세계 새로운 한국에 나타난 이 재림 사상과 세계적으로 연합할 수 있는 한때였다.
We saw that already one time in history when through the Israelites. That was a focal time too, and the foundation God wanted to use was the foundation of the religious, that of religion. Yeah, and Jesus was sent as a Messiah on this Roman Empire, influence the Roman Empire. That was precisely the time where the heavenly preparation, the preparation in God's part throughout the flow of the human development of human history, and that right time, and to bring the man's desire through this foundation of Roman Empire and the religious background, that was the focal time too.
그 연장자 죽어서 다시 온다고 했으니 재림 시대 와서 이것이 포칼 타임인데 그래서 여기서 포칼 타임인데 미국을 위주한 자유세계가 이것이 2차 전쟁을 통해서 세계가 통일될 할 거대 세계가 완전히 하나의 형태로 정리될 때 그때가 재림 시대라고 하는 거지.
At this time we can see much clearer that Jesus said, "I'll come again," and the history will make one big round, the moving again, and then come back to the point where they first started and failed, and then second time they started and failed, and now we see with the same type, the parallel time, the recurrence of time we see it today through this America, United States.
이사 세계 기독교 문화권의 세계가 하나의 통일권을 볼 수 있는 그때가 2차전 지구의 때라는 거예요.
And more precisely, that was right after the World War II, where the Christianity can be elevated into the global, the approval and the percept. That was that time.
이사전 지구라는 거예요.
Yeah, right after the World War II.
그렇잖아. 그때 미국이 전 세계를 장악했다.
The time of historical identity, right there.
그러니
Through
미국은
America.
뭐라는 역사를 전부 다 수습해가지고 오시는 메시아가 하나 돼가지고 하나님의 뜻과 통일적인 때를 미국이 갖춰야 할 사명이 있었다는 거지.
And America distinctly had the mission to realize that through the words of someone to come and accepting that someone, which is Messiah, and become completely one with the Messiah, receive God's words, and fulfill with the faith what God intended for so long preparation in the history. This was clearly what America had to do. This
그때는
was
모든
its
것이
downright
모든
mission.
토일권이야. 문화도 토일권.
Everything is in the realm of unity. The Christianity in unity, the philosophy of politics is unity. Of course, the democracy into Godism, that was into unity. Nobody opposes that. Communists has to say yes, yes. Arabs has to say yes, and African has to say yes. Everybody has to come into unity.
세계를 하나 만든 유엔기구고 종교 유엔구가 나와. 유엔기구와 합해서 기독교 유엔으로 모든 종교의 유엔기구가 생겨야 되는 것이.
So we saw, as a historical fact, that the United Nations emerged for this crucial the part of the play. But as well as United Nations as a political institution, there would have been United Nations of the whole religion would have come to exist, would come to being at that time.
기독교가 움직여야 된다. 기독교 문화, 기독교. 미국이 움직여야 된다.
And America, very much centering Christianity, will be a center of the globe, world, and would have gathered all different religions, had the religious United Nations or Congress.
그래가지고 메시아가 와서서 어서 하나님의 뜻대로 우리는 완전히 무에 들어갈 테니 당신이 주체서 가지고 하나의 유토피아적 상천국을 이루어줘서 하여금
And they should have made the preparation and the foundation for Messiah to come. And when the Messiah comes, please come to us. We have realized this and we have made this foundation. Now you tell us exactly where to go and what to do. And I will be fully one with God. And the whole world will come into unity according to God's wish and human wish too.
알겠어?
Amen. This was what America should have done at that time.
자, 그걸 모든 40년 동안에 미국은 40년간에 전부 다 참, 기독교도 이걸 받아들이지 못하고 기독교 문화권도 받아들이지 못함으로 말미암아 이 전부가 무너집니다. 전부 빼고.
History reveals as it is, since the America did not do that or did far from that, so next 40 years to come, America declines rather sharply down. Nobody can explain and know why, but America nevertheless plummet down into a very, very lowly state.
자, 너 그때 미국과 이 전 세계 종교가 합해가지고 레브런을 받아들였으면 어떻게 될 가능성이 있을까?
Now we look back 40 years back into the history and imagine if America, with this glorious foundation, has accepted the Messiah to come. And well, the Father was there indeed physically, except the Father,
어떻게 될까?
and worked according to godly way. Then what would the world today be? You can imagine. You have that. You are gifted with that imagination.
공산당은 없어졌다고.
One thing for sure is communism would not come into exist to see such as today. Or even if it emerged somehow in somewhere, Father would have been weeded out before he even grew to any height at all. It has nothing to do with God.
카우사 운동 전 세계를 그때 할 것이고 말이야. 원리 운동 그때는 다 할 것 전부 다.
Hausa movement would have been extremely effective had we launched at that time. Just nothing to it. All we have to do is just say a few words.
모든 전부 다 인권 소유성을 통하고 전부 다 뭐 이래가지고 말 전부 다 40을 기르고 40을 100을 100석 달, 넉 달을 전부 다 통신을 통해서 말이야. 교육했는데 세계는 완전히 하나였을 거야.
4 billion population would have been reached through the electronic media, like a radio at that time, or soon after that, television, to every four corners of the earth. And in no time at all, the world would have been enlightened and educated.
120을 수련시킨다. 생각해봐.
Imagine 120-day the training through these electronic media.
어떨 것 같아?
Imagine, you can imagine what it would have been.
기독교가 다 통일될까지 안 될까?
The Christianity, which is so divided now, don't you think Christianity would have come almost like an instant unity as soon as that was done at that time, if it was done at that time?
그것이 반대했기 때문에 40년 돌아와가지고 4천년 역사를 경험한 거예요. 4천년 역사를 되돌아와가지고 왔는데 그러니까 모든 미국과 모든 전 세계가 메시아를 맞아가지고 희망으로 넘어갈 거야. 이제 전부 다 메시아를 받는 절망으로 떨어져가지고 모든 산악 기독교 문화권 종교가 산산조박, 모든 뭐 경제가 산산조박, 정치 문화가 쭉 벽에 땅 떨어져. 그러니까 망하는 밖에. 서구 문명은 망할 수밖에 없다 문명.
It would have made a leap to the high standard, to very much near to God and the heaven and earth would have been created. But as it is, since the history failed, America failed, at that time, instead of receiving Messiah, they have rejected Messiah. So what they had was this promised time turned into the time of peril, time of despair. We see this last 40 years, this opportune time has plummeted down on earth. Now we are existing and not any better than any animal kingdom. So this 40 years has been the indemnity of the 4,000 years of preparation. Thanks to Father, though, Father made it as a re-indemnity.
자유세계의 기반을 인계받아야 할 그 기반을 중삼고 통일의 선민권세로 넘어가기 때문에 이것을 통일교를 중삼고 다시 기독교가 하지 못한 것과 이 자유세계에 못한 고난을 재차 만들어서 대등할 수 있는 시대권까지 올라와가지고 지금 집합을 3년 노정을 두고 있는 것이 이것이 선민사로 볼 때의 세 번째 지상 인간의 초점 시대와 선민사의 초점 시대에서 넘어갈 수 있는 전환기의 봉태가 있다는 거라네. 그것이 우리 통일교 원리적 관에 있어서 광야 40년 고개를 넘는 시대다 하는 거 아닙니까? 이 3년간이.
So we failed. Now Father raised the Unification Church. Through Unification Church, re-indemnified what America had failed, what Christianity had failed at the time, receiving Father and served, offering him as a foundation of his working in a global mission and elevating that to God. Father has done that last 40 years. And on this basis now, we are doing precisely the third time, the same, this opportune time. Father will precisely arrest this time and prepare all this foundation and fulfill what is clearly stated out to be done, is to reach out to the whole world and bring the world into unity. Now Father has been doing this and teaching us in every bit of the way, and Father gave all the proof why this is so. Now Father gave us a clear idea of what the 40 years of wilderness is, what unification has gone through.
지금 세상주의가 공산주의, 민주주의 두 주의 남았다.
So today,
뭐 등장하니 가지즘하고 유니피케이셔니즘가 등장했다. 그러나 이제 세 주의가 있다.
So today the ideal is reduced into two now. There's a so-called democracy and there's so-called communism.
얘가 이제 싸우는 거야.
And they're confronting each other. They are conflicting each other.
자, 이것을 그냥도 이건 무엇이 하나 만들어야 된다. 이게.
And somehow we have a feeling that something has to bring them into unity.
이것이 복귀 시대니까 역사를 보게 된다면 가인과 같은 세계 타입이 공산이고 민주세계가 아벨 같은데 가인이 아벨을 죽이는 입장에서 죽을 단계에 들어와 있다. 딱 그와 같은.
So by dispensation, this is the deployment in Cain and Abel situation. And now the Cain, through like a history has already repeated, is on the verge of trying to choke the Abel, and the Abel is on the verge of dying now.
공산주의 앞에 지금 죽게 됐다.
Now the communism is closing in with such a pressure that democracy is quite powerless and it's on the verge of being choked out, run out by communism. This is precisely what today is, isn't it?
그러면 원리적인 입장에서 하나님이 간섭하고 부모가 간섭할 수 있는 간섭권내가 원리 주관권의 것이 간섭권내를 넘어갈 수 있는 때에 돼야 된다. 이렇게 간섭할 수 없는 권내를 넘어가야 된다는 거지.
So precisely this time has to advance and nudge away and get out of this area where through the principle the parents and the God cannot interfere with it. It's their time of portion of their responsibility. So we want to quickly get away this time frame of it's all entirely up to him. That time frame we want to get out of so that parents and God can come and help us.
간접분내를 넘어설 수 있는 때를 가야 된다. 간접분내.
In other words, direct dominion time frame we would like to get over and go into the indirect dominion time. We'll soon get over and go into the the direct dominion time.
그럼 이건 무엇이
That's what we want now.
지금까지 통일권 뭐냐면 간접 주관권 내에 직접 주관권 내로 나가기 위해서는 이게 참부모가 없어가지고 못 나가는 거야. 참부모가.
So this transition between
참부모가 되지 않고는 못 넘어가는 거야 이게. 참부모가 없으면.
this going from one time frame of indirect dominion into that of direct dominion to move one ahead, it takes true parents to do that. In other words, unless there is true parents, the indirect dominion cannot automatically be elevated into direct dominion time frame.
자, 그것이
In history.
선생님의 가정을 중심상 가정은 장성완성의 아담이 타락했기 때문에 거기 전에 출발하는데요 7년간 중상 3칠이 20년 3차 7년 노동이 거기 하는 거예요. 못 올라가서 싸움을 했더니.
And this the 7 years, 21 year, 7 year time is
타락이
this
아담이
is all
타락할
about.
때 완성급에서 장성 완성급 타락하기 때문에 완성급 한 단계로 7년에 해당하는데 그것을 가정을 끌고 넘어가는데 가정을 끌고 사탄 세계의 가정 그 사회를 통해서 사탄 세계의 종족 사회를 통해서 사탄 세계의 민족 사회를 통해서 사탄 세계 국가 사회를 통해서 사탄 세계 나중엔 공산 세계와 민주 세계 사회를 통해서 넘어가는 거예요. 이게.
The 7 years time of perfection. Now father's family has been going through this time frame.
원리 얘기라. 장성 완성자들.
The 3 stages of
그러니까 장성 완성권에서
growth and perfection.
사랑의 인을 맺어가지고 사탄 악의 부모로서 출발한 걸 탈락하기 위해서는 선한 부모가 장성 완성권에서 출발해가지고 완성 단계를 넘어갈 7년이 안 남아있다 그야.
So let's try that again from the beginning. Now this stage of the formation and the growth and the perfection. The Adam and Eve failed at the time of growth in it, at the perfection stage of the growth stage. And the Messiah to come, or the last Adam to come, must re-indemnify that. That means he has to have this 7 years to perfect himself, he and the family. And this is manifested by this 7-year course, the 21-year course was all about. Through this time, the father has to bring around all the family and advance through, start from the way he left off, and go through fight out every inch of the way through the satanic family and into the satanic society and the country and the like. Father has to come clear out of that.
그러면서 종족을 위해서 통일 종족이 되고 민족을 위해서 통일 민족이 되고 국가를 위해서 통일 국가형 세계를 걸쳐 통일 세계형으로서 공산주의와 민주 세계를 넘어가야 된다.
And while he's doing that, of course, he will have this clan behind him, his race, his nation, which is the Unification Church, will come behind him and go through this communism and democracy.
그래가지고 종족 단계를 넘어서 민족 단계 갈 때 민족 단계 사탄에 치는 거래. 그걸 뚫고 나야 돼. 민족 단계 넘어선다면 국가들이 치는 그걸 뚫고 넘어야 돼. 그다음 국가 기준 넘어서면 세계 공산주의 민주가 친다는 게 그걸 뚫고 넘어가야 돼.
And every time he advances this from family into that clan, into that nation, into that world, in each and every one there's an unmistakable. The whole area will come.
Every
Satan will come.
satanic world against true parents' will.
True parents are advancing.
Starting true parents' family level. At that time, all satanic family gathering with one against true parents' family. Do you follow me? So against winning can go through tribal level. Satan, 방비, perfect, 방비,
protects, the prevents.
Yeah. So Satan's world strongly they want protection. Protection.
Prevents. It stops.
So that at that time, true parents, family going at traveling. Opposite Satan against true parents, tribal.
Whole tribe, satanic tribe will go against father's tribe.
Yeah.
After winning, true parents, family level, Satan waiting the national level. They making strong, stressed background. So waiting. The true parents have